All right. Okay, so these are the next questions I'm going to cover. I'm covering these because they're kind of simple to explain. It just kind of has to do a little bit with some properties and some memorization. Okay, so I'm going to go over these next. So we're going to start with 1B. Okay, it says a mixture is a sample with. You need to know that there are two types of mixtures. One's called a homogeneous and one's called a heterogeneous. Homo just means the same, hetero means different. That doesn't really matter for answering this particular question. Basically, you just need to know that mixtures are when two or more things are mixed together. Two or more things are mixed together. So if I look at my options, the only thing that is correct here about a mixture is letter D. It's a composition that contains two or more substances. So it does not, it's not A because it can be a mixture that's like a cup. It could be a mixture that's a gallon. So that's not necessarily fixed. Fixed would be like you have the exact same amount of both things or something like that. B, composition that depends on temperature. Nope, that's not, has nothing to do with a mixture. It could be hot or cold. Composition that always contains oxygen. Nope, it can contain anything, not just oxygen. And it's not letter D because, again, it doesn't have to be fixed or have definite proportion at all times. It can change. You can have a bucket of water and sand, and then you can add some more sand. It's still a mixture. So the only correct answer there is letter D. All right, the next one is E. So if I go down to E, it says chemical potential energy is. So I just want you to remember potential is stored energy and kinetic is like movement energy, like when something's actually moving. So chemical potential energy is like the fact when something has the potential to move or do something. In this case, chemicals having potential to react. So the only correct answer there is letter E, stored energy in chemicals. It's not D because kinetic again means movement. Specific heat is something totally different. Radiant energy is something totally different. And work has a totally different equation that you probably haven't even learned about in this class because it's like a physics thing. So the only one that makes sense is letter E, stored energy in chemicals. The next one is letter G. Letter G says, which is not a physical property of matters. Okay, so I'm pointing to the right answer, which is letter B, combustibility. That is the only one that actually chemically changes a substance. So I want you to remember that combustible means that something burns or explodes. And when something burns or explodes, it is no longer the same thing. Like if you burn a piece of paper, it is not going to be paper anymore. It is going to be ashes, and ashes are not the same. Okay? And so the other ones, though, they don't change a substance. Like boiling point, if you boil something, it's still going to be the same substance. It's just going to boil. C, specific heat capacity. The specific heat capacity is the value of a substance that's always the same. It doesn't change. For example, if you look at this problem right here, right above it, which we'll talk about in another video, it tells you that the specific heat of ethanol is 0.1256. That's always going to be true for ethanol, no matter what. Letter D is solubility. Solubility means like the ability for something to dissolve. Again, it's going to dissolve or it's not. So it doesn't change the substance. And finally, density. The density of all substances, again, are the same no matter what. So the reason it's letter B is because to combust means to burn or explode, and that means that it's actually going to chemically change a substance. And it's asking about which one is not a physical property. So the rest are physical properties. Okay, and that's the letter G. Letter Q talks about which substance, which is considered a pure substance. So pure substance is when it's not a mixture. So remember the first question we talked about, mixture, two or more things mixed together. Okay, so letter A, aqueous solution of sodium chloride. First of all, you have to remember that aqueous means water, dissolved in water, and sodium chloride is salt. So that is basically salt water. That's two different things mixed together. That's not pure substance. Letter B, the air we breathe. Air is not just air. Air has oxygen, it has nitrogen, it has argon, it has different things in it. So the fact that it has more than one substance in it, it means it's not a pure substance. So that's not the answer. A bottle of wine. What is wine made out of? Wine is made out of grapes, right? Grape juice. They take the juice and they ferment it and it turns into alcohol. So what do you have in there? You have juice, which has water, which has alcohol. There's different flavors, things like that. So there's different things in wine. So therefore, not a pure substance. I'm going to skip to letter E. Solution of bleach. Again, solution is similar to saying aqueous. Solution means that something is dissolved in something else. So like a solution of bleach is chlorine dissolved in water. That's what bleach is. So two or more things together, not pure substance. So finally, letter D is correct. Why? Because it says it's 100% aluminum. It's just aluminum. It's nothing else. The fact that it's just one thing makes it a pure substance. That's letter Q. If we look at letter R says, which is true about acid-base neutralization reactions? Okay, this one's, I might have to talk about acid-base neutralization reactions in another video, but basically, acid-base reactions, when acid and a base react together and they form products. They always react together and form products. So letter A is not true because you're not going to have the reactants are not going to have higher chemical potential energy than the products. Letter B, generally the reaction produces a salt and water. Generally, the reaction produces a salt and water and is exothermic. Letter C. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally messed up on this one. Do you see how I have them all circled? I have them all circled because they're all correct. The correct answer is letter E. I was not thinking right. So the reactants are going to have higher chemical potential energy? Definitely, because they are definitely going to react and form products, and the products are going to be more stable. Okay, the reaction produces salt and water. Yes, true. And it's always going to produce some energy. So it's going to be exothermic. That is also true. Acid-base net ionic equation involves H plus ions reacting with OH minus ions. Yes, H plus is what makes something acidic. OH minus is what makes something basic. When they react together, they do form water, and that is going to be one of the products formed. So that is true. Letter D, acid-base reaction is a form of a double displacement reaction or double replacement reaction, same thing. And that is also true. And again, I can show you this in another video. I'll probably do a short video just on acid-base neutralization reaction. But all of these are true. The answer is letter E, all of the above. Finally, the last one I'm going to go over is letter S. Letter S says, which is a property of gases? Well, gases float around, the particles move around. They don't have a fixed shape. The particles do not stay close together. And so, therefore, A is not true because it does not have a fixed shape. And D is not true because they don't have a definite shape. Same thing. Fixed shape, definite shape means the same thing. So those are both incorrect. Letter B, though, says, It says matter that are incompressible. Incompressible means you can't press it together. Well, you can. Have you ever taken a balloon and squeezed it? That means that you can compress the air inside of it, and air is a gas. So that is also true. That the fact that it's incompressible is not true. And finally, letter B is the correct answer because gases do not have a definite shape. They have an indefinite shape, And they also have an indefinite volume. Their volume can change. Like I said, you could take a balloon and you can squeeze it into different shapes, and it's going to have different, the volume is going to not be definite. So for that one, the correct letter is B. All right, those are most of the easy ones, I thought, on this practice test.